we look at Hebrew, we find out, number one, that the writer tells us that he defines faith as the substance of the hypostasis of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. What he does in the book of Hebrew is he used the definition to slow down or to put an halt to the backsliding or the apostasy of the Hebrew saints. The reason they were backsliding, the reason they were backing up was simply because they anticipated or they expected something from God so quickly, and because they expected God to move so quickly in their life and it didn't happen in the time frame that they wanted to happen, now they began to backslide in their faith. That sounds like our problems today. And sometimes we feel good about some things, and when we feel good about it, as time passes, we seem to back up. We become indifferent. We become careless. We become thoughtless because things is not moving like we want them to move in our lives. And sometimes even in my life, I wanted things to hurry up and get it over with. You know, in college, want to get through it. But I got to go all these years. I'm trying to just get through it. And it seems like time is on your side. And when time is on your side, it creates a monster sometimes in our lives because we want something so quickly. And when God first opened the door and blesses us and saves us, we thought that everything was going to be a panacea. We thought everything was going to happen quickly. We thought our blessing was going to happen quickly. We thought our money was going to come quickly. We thought our man and our woman were going to come quickly. But nobody told us about time. You know, soon we walked down the aisle and got saved, we thought everything's going to be all right. And soon we got sick and the preacher prayed for us and laid his hands on us. We thought we were going to be healed overnight, but nobody told us about time. Because time become a threat to our faith. Time become a threat to our mind and our emotion. Because what time does is time makes us question God. It makes us question God because when we think that God's going to do it overnight and it hasn't come to pass, we begin to ask God when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, and we begin to say, well, God, I'm getting too old, and when you going to come on up and do what you said you're going to do. And after a while, we begin to get angry and disgusted, and we begin to backslide on God and say, well, maybe it's not going to happen, or maybe I didn't hear God correctly, or maybe I'm just not living right, or maybe I just don't have the persona, maybe it's because I don't have the look, the degrees, or whatever it may be. We try to make justification for what God has promised us. And sometimes I realize that don't make any justification if things does not happen when you want them to happen. Only thing you ought to do is lift your voice and say, Lord, help me to hold on and to hold out. Sometimes we just need to hold on and to hold out just a little while longer. Our own plan sometimes gets us in more trouble than waiting. Think about Abraham in this story and Sarah. Abraham 100 years old, Sarah being 90 when this child Isaac was born. But before a prior time, Sarah didn't thought she was able to have a baby. I'm 90 years old, take my maid Hagar and have a child through her. I'm old, the years has passed, it's over with and it's forgotten with. Take my maid and have a child through her. And sometimes our own plans gets us in trouble because we try to work it out ourselves. We try to find the right one ourselves. And when you think you found the right one, instead of ending up with Blvd Williams, you ended up with Freddy Krueger, and you run into the altar asking God how you're going to be free. Sometimes it pays to wait upon the Lord and be of good courage and watch Him strengthen your heart. And sometimes as we waited on God, we get a little anxious. We think sometimes, I know this from old school. Isaiah said, Dad, you old school. Yeah, well, let me go old school. The old gentleman used to put it like this. He used to say, sometimes we think the grass is greener on the other side. And while we waited and we waited on God, and don't be happening on this side with green grass, we decided to try the other fields. Well, well, not knowing that even in the other fields across town, they got some bulls over there as well. Sometimes you best stand where you are and let God work it out in your life. But I'm glad that God is committed to blessing me more than I am committed in receiving his blessing. I'm glad that he's still committed into blessing us in spite of our shortcomings, in spite of our failures, in spite of our doubting and not believing God. God is still committed in blessing you. This is why God overrides you and gives you what he wants you to have. That's why he overrides your feelings and emotions. He overrides your drives and your ambitions. He overrides the things that you think you may want because God knows what's best for you. I've found out in my life, 40 plus something years old now, that God knows what's best for me. Sometimes I think I know what's best for me, but I realize most of all that God knows what's best for me. So God overrides us, and that's why we're waiting on God. And we got to say to God, as we're waiting on God, sometimes you got to say no. Because when you're waiting on God, the devil will send something good in your eyesight. He sends something good that will catch your eye to get you out of the promise and the blessings of God. When you're waiting on God and God has promised you something, now the devil knows what you like, and the devil done heard your testimony, and devil knows what gets your curiosity up, and the devil will send that very thing down your path. And when he sends it down your path, it grabs your eyes and is trying to take you away and away from the promises and the blessings of God. So that's why God puts something in us and puts the gifts in us so we can say no to some stuff and give so that you can enjoy some stuff without losing your mind. The Bible said when God gives you a gift of a house, a gift of a car, a gift of a business, a gift of a church, a gift of joy and peace and happiness, the Bible says he addeth no sorrow. So when you get a gift from God, it's no sorrow added to the gift. Oh, you want to know why you crying all the time? Because the things that you got with you on today may not be from God. You wonder why you struggling on today? Because the thing that you got on to this week may not be from God. Because when God gives you something, he added no sorrows. But watch it, if you will. Circumstances and situation may come to make you feel like that God is not on your side. Once God blesses you with a house, once God blesses you with a car, here comes the enemy. All of a sudden you done lost some money. All of a sudden you may lost your job. All of a sudden you may got sick in your body. And we begin to wonder in our spirit whether or not the thing that God has given to me, was this really of God? But you got to watch it, if you will, because the devil will test your faith. If you say you believe God, let me put you to the test. If you say you trust God, let me put you to the test. And I realize you can't have a testimony unless you go through the test. You can't walk in here and do with God and never go through a test. You can't say he's a healer if you've never been sick. You can't say he's a heart fixer if your heart never been broken. You can't say he's a mind regulator if your mind never been messed up. But when you go through some stuff and God show you who he is, you can stand up and be a witness. I know he is a heart fixer. I know he is a mind regulator. I know he is a burden bearer, because I tried it for myself. So that's why when things happen in your life, don't look at your circumstances. Don't look at the situation. Don't look at the sickness that's going on. But keep your eyes on the prize. For Paul said, I shall look up toward the hills, which cometh my help. Because all my help, I believe I'm going to blow a fuse, comes from the Lord, who made the heaven and the earth. And otherwise, don't look at man. Don't look at woman. Don't even look at the pastor. Don't even but keep your eyes on Christ. So your church will let you fall and will turn it back. But you in the Lord's hand, God will hold you up in the middle of your storms and your trials of life. So the writer is concerned about us. He's concerned about us holding on. He's concerned about us trusting in God. He's concerned about us praising God when nothing seems to be happening. Oh my God, from Zion, how can I have the faith to hold on when nothing is happening around me? How can I have the faith to still trust God when nobody's backing me up? I realize I know how I need to do it. I learn and praise because I praise God on credit because He's good for it. I praise Him when I'm sick. I praise Him when I'm hurt. I praise Him when I'm alone. For the Lord is worthy of all honor, praise, and glory. For the Bible says, let everything that has breath praise ye the Lord. What the devil wants you to do is to shut up your mouth and stop you from praising the Lord. The devil gets so mad at you because when you open up your mouth and still give him a hallelujah praise, he's scratching his head, want to know what is going on. I thought this would stop her. I thought this would break him. I thought this would hold him back. But the more I put on, the more I push to the Lord. And I tell the devil, the more you put on me, the more I'm going to praise Him. Because I know what the Lord can do in my life. So watch, if you will, let me go to my Greek for a minute, and then we get ready to go home. But the Bible says faith is the substance. In the Greek, it means the hypostatus. What is that, Pastor? That undergirds us. That supports us. That holds us up. So faith is that thing that holds us upright. When my mind goes crazy, faith holds me up. When my feelings get messed up, faith holds me up. When I don't know what I want to do, my faith holds me up. It's that thing that undergirds, that supports me and holds me together. And it leads me to prayer. One thing about what faith does, it leads me to prayer. It puts something in my mind. I don't see it happening, but my faith says it's going to happen. So I move into prayer. When some folks say I don't see it, you ain't supposed to see it. Because God didn't show it to you, but He gave it to me. And I trust the Lord with all of my heart. And that's what makes the devil mad. The devil gets mad because he wants you to stop hoping. He wants you to stop believing. He wants you to stop trusting the Lord. But you got to say,